Are you posting daily but still need more clients? I'm going to explain to you in this video why visibility is not the same as being seen and understood by your audience. I'm Elle Beloved, a relationship-based business coach, and I help coaches and heart-centered service providers get more clients sustainably. So many of small business owners, coaches, service providers are really great about being consistent on social media. We show up with heart, we post consistently, but we still hear crickets. This video will break down for you why this isn't a consistency issue. It's not even a visibility issue. It's actually a content strategy issue. Here are 5 common problems that I see other coaches do based on my clients and things that I myself did when I was first starting my career as a coach. I want to tell you what they are so that you can avoid them as well. Also, if you want to know how to apply the concepts in this video to your business specifically, make sure you download our social presence self-audit. The first problem I see happen a lot is that people follow business advice or even just strategies they observe from other content creators, other coaches, other influencers who have a much larger audience than you. They aren't in the same stage of business as you. Maybe you're working one-on-one or in a high-touch hybrid program or high-touch group programs. You're working with 10, 20 clients at a time, really in depth. And you're watching what these huge creators are doing that are selling really inexpensive courses. They have a much bigger audience than you. And so those people who have a large audience can be a little bit less strategic. They can be a little bit broader in how they're speaking to their audience. They don't need to be as specific because they already have a lot of credibility and momentum in the market. If you do not have a very large following, a huge following like they do, and you're working with smaller numbers, let's say 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, even up to 20,000, you're going to be needing to follow some very specific strategies around how to capture those people into your audience and make it really clear how you can help them. So do not look at those people who are not in the same stage of business as you are. The second common problem I see people do a lot, especially when they're a newly certified coach or if they've been collecting certifications for a few years, is that they use too much jargon and terminology from their certification. So your certification taught you a lot of the how and the why behind why the method works and exactly what you're helping people with. However, when a client is deciding who they want to work with and they're looking for a solution to their problem, whether that's a dating issue, a relationship issue, a health-related issue, a business issue, or something else, right? They just want their problem solved. They don't need to know all of the ins and outs and all of the jargon around exactly what you do. They don't necessarily need to know that you work with a somatic integration in the nervous system, that you use a specific kind of approach in your health, the type of nutrition plan that you like to give people. They don't need to know the ins and outs. They don't need to know the technical pieces. But a lot of times we're really excited about that. We think that's really cool. We kind of nerd out on it and we share the how, we share the why behind why it works, but people just want their problem solved. They just want to know, hey, how do I fix my marriage so that my husband doesn't leave me? They don't necessarily need to know all of the pieces to make that happen. They just need to trust in you and your method enough to build the credibility to know that you can help them. And so it's time to ditch the jargon, ditch the terms that are used inside of your certification. Maybe that's something like sacred partnership, Taoist tantric arts, interoception, uncoupling, decoupling, things like this that are very technical terms that people don't need to know. It's time to ditch those and start speaking the language of your audience. A third really common problem is saying what you want to say rather than what your audience wants to hear. I know this one might touch some nerves, and I'm not saying that you don't get to be authentic or you don't get to be who you are online. At the same time, this is why business is fundamentally about relationship. So just like in any relationship, friendship, romantic relationship, and client relationships, if you sat down with your friend at a coffee shop, you were catching up, and all you did was talk about what you want to talk about without really listening to what they want to talk about, you wouldn't be a very good friend, right? We all know that. And so because of the nature of social media and building a business, we don't always recognize that interpersonal piece that is still going on with our audience because it's not a conversation. So we don't realize the social aspects that are still playing out there. And if we just talk about what we think is important all the time, our audience doesn't feel like we understand them. They don't feel like we have the solution for them. They don't feel like we really get their problem. And most importantly, they don't feel like we're speaking to them. We really need to convey the work that we do in the language that they understand, because that is what makes them say, oh my goodness, I need this. That is the basis of really good marketing, is when your audience says that about you. And if you're not speaking their language, if you're not talking about what they need help with, then you're not really reaching them in the relational way that they need to be seen and heard and to know that you're the person that can help them. So you still get to talk about things that are interesting to you. You should still have personal content on your page, especially if you're in a helping industry that's a personal brand. However, we need to have the majority of our content be about the problems that our clients want solved, our potential clients want solved, and the solutions that they're really looking for in their life. The fourth really common problem I see is related to the third one that we just talked about, which is talking about problems that you're excited to talk about, that you really know are the real fix for people, rather than the problems that they want to talk about. For example, you might know that one of their main issues is that they're in a constant state of hypervigilance every time they open a dating app, and that you need to, get out of that hypervigilant state and do some somatic integration. Cool, right? But they don't necessarily want to hear that. That's not the problem that they want solved. They want to know, how do I find my soulmate? How do I find somebody who won't ghost me? A lot of times, especially if we're very experienced, very depth-oriented coaches, we want to talk about the real issue that will be solved inside of the container. Sometimes people know that they need that problem solved. Sometimes they know they're hypervigilant, but most people don't know that yet. They will discover that inside of your container. And instead, what they know is, I can't seem to date somebody who doesn't ghost me. And that's the problem they want solved. And so it's important to talk about the problems, not just that you're excited about solving, but the ones that they are excited about solving, even if it's not the most exciting problem for you. And I want to be clear that that doesn't mean that your core offer has to be different, that your program has to change. You can still get to those root issues inside of the problem. But a lot of times where we're missing the mark on social media is that is the top of the funnel. And so we need to talk to the very basic level problems that people want solved there. And then as they go through your funnel, as they come to conversion events with you, as they get on a sales call with you, as they come into your program, you can start to educate them about those deeper issues. But for the time being, it's really important to speak to those problems that they want solved. I also want to emphasize that you're not pigeonholed into talking about some problem that maybe seems banal or silly or not that deep to you forever. However, it is a good idea to have solutions to these problems inside of your ecosystem. And I teach my clients to do multiple conversion events, multiple lead magnets, and multiple opt-ins around a set of problems that their people want solved. And you get to evolve, you get to change, you get to move from one type of coach to another type of coach. You can even switch niches if you want. You're not pigeonholed into talking about this forever, but if it's something that your audience really needs help with, that's what you're here for. You're here to help them. You're here to serve them. You're here to help them make their life better, their relationship better, their health better, their business better, their wealth better. So we need to really be showing up with that heart of service and being willing to help them solve the problems that they are excited to solve and they are motivated to solve. And this is where the regenerative part of a business comes in, because when you speak to those problems, it also leads to more client conversions. People will come to you to solve problems, and they will sign up to solve a problem that is urgent for them. So if you're speaking to problems that aren't urgent for them and they don't care about, that can be a big reason why your social media is flopping and you're not getting the engagement that you want and the signups that you want. And so it's important to shift the way you're thinking about it and start listening really well to what they need your help with. And the fifth most common problem that I see happen all the time, especially in coaching, is that your only call to action really is to hop on a call to talk about working together, to book a discovery call. You just go straight into, okay, here's this one post, now let's work together. Here's an email, and now let's work together. And it's just not the way that people buy into coaching. It hasn't been for years. That hasn't changed in the industry. Largely, when it comes to coaching or any sort of high ticket program of any kind, even if it's another type of helping industry like hypnotherapy, EMDR, these kinds of things, people need a conversion event to say yes to working with you. There needs to be some kind of high touch event experience that you bring a lot of people into a space with you and you help them see the value of this work. You give them an opportunity to step into doing it right now, and you offer them a call following the conversion event. And usually those calls, more often than not, if we're talking about mid-ticket, if we're talking about high ticket, not a tiny little course, but a mid-ticket, high-ticket offer, then you're going to need to be doing conversion events. And that means that a lot of your social media posts drive to that event rather than directly to a call. Many coaches miss that intermediate step of conversion event before calls. And that is usually one of the biggest missing pieces in your social media strategy. That is part of why you're not consistently getting clients from social media, is you're just hopping straight to a discovery call and they don't know yet. They don't trust you yet. They don't know if you're the person to help them yet. We need to be putting on some kind of larger event to help open the door and show them the way. So once again, if you want to think about how to apply this specifically to your audience and to your business, go ahead and download our free social presence self-audit and learn how to apply some of these things to your business and find your blind spots. And also make sure you watch our next video on 3 content fixes that help you attract more clients.